All right, so this is our read for May 2025, and it is a book by Morabo Morojele. The three.
Wow, you really have that pronunciation.
Well, I don't know if that's. I don't speak Sotho, so you have to ask them if I've done it correctly. I think it might be Morabo. I don't know. But the three-egg dilemma, and it is set in Lesotho, the kingdom of Lesotho. For those that don't know, Lesotho is it's an independent country that is completely landlocked by the Republic of South Africa, and it was a separate kingdom of the Sotho people. So it's called the Kingdom in the Sky. So they're very high up in the mountains. So they do mostly just Sotho people, like 99.7%.
Okay.
So they're quite isolated in that way. And this is one of the main themes that are in the book. So our main character is called Egg, for example. And he lives in a town that's not been mentioned, that we don't know the name of the town in Lesotho. I'm not sure if it I don't know if it is Maseru, or I'm not sure what the second largest town in their country is. But let's just assume it's one of the major towns. And he lives in not quite the township, but maybe in a sort of a suburb that's at the top of the hill, just adjacent to the township. And he's an isolated character, but at the same way he's very woven into his local community. So the local community is just the people at the top of the hill, and he's got his housekeeper there and his own tenants. So he lives in the main house that his parents left for him, and he's also middle-aged. So he must be late 40s or early 50s.
I was about to say, what's middle age? Am I middle aged?
Yeah, well, yeah, technically, but he's like late 40s, late 40s, early 50s. I would suppose, we don't know.
Okay.
And this is it's a depressing book.
Okay.
It really, it's a, and not to say that, I think it's the writing is like really, he conveys it very well.
Okay.
The author, and it recently won a prize for fiction from the University of Johannesburg. So it's, I guess from a technical level, it's in first person, and we get to meet Egg and the people in the community, like his friend Styx, who is a vendor who sells eggs. Then there's also...
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also a lady in the neighborhood who owns the local bar, the drinking hall and that's where it's one of the areas where you meet different characters from the neighborhood and around the town. And it's a portrait of a society that is experiencing poverty, that is experiencing malaise, and it's unemployment, violence. So I knew this before reading the book, that Lesotho has, I believe, if not the highest rate of rape in the world.
Oh.
Yep. In terms of GBV, it's certainly up there.
Oh.
And just in terms of violence, also, it's up there. We read before Wayfarer's Hymns by Jaysome. And it touches on the violence within the Famo community. So there's a lot of violence going on in Lesotho, but you get to see how it's because of lack of opportunity, because of lack of development. And I'm not sure when this book was written, because they asked, yes, oh no, I know it was set. Yes, when it was set. Because, and I had to go back and research, Lesotho is one of the African countries, it's had 4 coups. Right.
I actually know nothing about Lesotho. Like, the more you talk,
it's had 4 coups. And it is a country where martial law and the army has had to come in several times, even recently, to to, I guess, well, from their perspective, to restore order, but from some of the perspective of the citizens and also organizations like Human Rights Watch, they are perpetuating some of the violence against people. And that's in this book too, because it slowly descends into civil unrest. And meanwhile, there's that, the country is almost burning, but Egg and his crew, his motley crew of tenants and his crew from the neighborhood. Life is sort of going on as usual. They're having their problems when they go to the bar and someone owes money and then they ask
like life carries on. Things are burning, but
things are burning.
Humans
they
will fight.
Still are talking about my tenant hasn't paid this.
Yeah,
so if I don't pay my water bill, the municipality might switch off the water soon.
Yeah.
Those kind of mundane things. But then as the book goes on, you get to learn how Egg has ended up in this situation and how all of the people around him, maybe as much as they have a community, some of these behavior patterns that they have are just symptoms of a wider a wider it's quite, in ways you see some parallels with what is happening in Zimbabwe when it comes to the illegal. There is aspects of illegal mining, there's corruption, there's drug abuse in there too, and these are themes that I believe any country that's gone, or at least African country that is going through economic hard times, you see that. From a technical point of view, like I said, it's very well written.
How are you rating it?
I'm not sure, because I mean the main character, and we sometimes, when something is written in first person and the character is a bit deplorable, which Egg certainly is, how then do you rate the book? Do you rate it on how much you've enjoyed a book?
Okay.
Or you relate it on how well the author has set the scene? That's a question that I ask myself. So in terms of a rating, I might give it a 3.5.
Okay.
So I don't think it's not an average book by any means. Like, the writing is quite up there. It's just maybe the style of the book is not
your choice.
It's not my thing. But it's certainly, we don't, because he is the first Basotho author we've read. And I believe the readers out there are going to get a lot of perspective on what's happening in Lesotho, especially because it is a neighboring country.
We just don't know about.
We always have this conversation in literature where there's some countries that are just ignored. We don't hear about them. And because they're isolated and they're such a small population too, we don't get to hear their perspective a lot. So
for that alone, we should read this book.
Yes, definitely, to anyone out there.